Yo, hoop fans! Your sideline sage, Tips and Upstreams, is lacing up once again. On deck, deep dives into the freshest NBA clashes, ready to set the planks ablaze. But before we jump the ball, be sure to hammer that subscribe on our YouTube channel to keep hooked with our sharp forecasts and prime selections. All right, let's bounce into today's NBA Crystal Ball reads. The first prediction for today is for the game between Orlando Magic and Cleveland Cavaliers. As the NBA gets back into the swing of things after the All-Star hiatus, hoops enthusiasts are zeroing in on an electrifying clash in the Eastern Conference at the Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. Here, the Cleveland Cavaliers are gearing up to welcome the Orlando Magic. The Cavaliers, boasting an impressive 36-17 tally, are hot on the heels of the Celtics, securing the second slot in the East thanks to their recent hot streak, bagging wins in 10 of their last 11 matchups. On the flip side, the Orlando Magic, comfortably in the 8th position with a 30-25 record, are showing they've got the chops to climb even higher. This encounter is especially captivating as it's the season's 4th round between the two, with the Cavaliers currently leading 2-1. Both squads are coming off the All-Star break on a high note, with standout players like Paolo Banchero from Orlando and Cleveland's Donovan Mitchell, both of whom dazzled during the All-Star festivities, primed to leave a mark. Orlando's season has been a tale of contrasts, with their offense lagging at 24th in efficiency, yet their defense is a force to be reckoned with, ranked 4th. Their deliberate approach to the game, sitting at 26th in pace, might just be their ace in controlling the tempo against the Cavaliers, who similarly favor a more measured pace at 22nd. The Cavaliers shine with a defense that's near the top at 2nd in efficiency, while their offense holds the middle ground at 17th. Their dominance at home and a knack for stifling their rivals' scoring have been key to their successful run. Led by Mitchell's scoring frenzy and the solid double-double performances from Evan Mobley and Jarrett Allen, they pose a significant challenge. With the home court advantage in Cleveland, the Cavaliers have a slight edge, but Orlando's upset potential and stellar defense deserve attention. The Magic's bench depth, including standout contributions from Cole Anthony and Moritz Wagner, introduces an element of unpredictability. Considering the recent face-offs in Cleveland and the Cavaliers' edge in defense and home court leverage, the Cavaliers are the favorites. Yet, the Magic's tenacity and knack for beating the odds suggest a tight contest. Expect a defensive showdown with total points likely to fall short of the 216.5 mark, given both teams' defensive prowess and Cleveland's home efficiency. Yet, Cleveland's offensive edge and defensive solidity at home should clinch them the win. However, Orlando's history of covering the spread, especially as underdogs by 7.5 points or more, hints at a closer match than anticipated. To sum up, while the Cavaliers are likely victors, the Magic's defensive grit and spread-covering prowess indicate they'll challenge the 7.5-point spread. This matchup is poised to be a defensive slugfest, with both teams expected to keep the score below the projected total. Betting on the Orlando Magic to cover the spread is a savvy move, showcasing their defensive strength and ability to hang tight with top-tier teams. My wager is on the Magic to not only cover the spread, but also highlight their resilience and defensive tenacity in a closely contested game. The next prediction for today is for the game between Detroit Pistons and Indiana Pacers. Tonight's showdown sees the Detroit Pistons hitting the hardwood at Gainbridge Fieldhouse against the Indiana Pacers in a duel that's more intriguing than it first appears. The Pistons, mired in a losing streak with 3 consecutive defeats to the Clippers, Lakers, and Suns, are hungry for a victory. Despite their recent downturn, they're putting up a respectable 112.9 points per game on 47.2% shooting, led by Cade Cunningham's dynamic play. Yet, their defensive efforts are lacking, as they've been giving up 122 points per game on 49.4% shooting. The Pacers, meanwhile, are in a more favorable position, looking to build on their mixed recent results. With an offense that's been on fire, averaging 123.7 points on 50.8% shooting, thanks to the stellar performances of Tyrese Halliburton and Pascal Siakam, Indiana plans to outgun their opposition. However, their defensive numbers are nearly identical to Detroit's, indicating a susceptibility to high-scoring games. Past encounters at Gainbridge Fieldhouse have typically been high-scoring affairs, with both teams playing fast and not shying away from a shootout. This trend is expected to continue, given their offensive capabilities and defensive shortcomings. A closer look at their performance and stats reveals that both teams excel offensively but struggle on defense. Indiana has the upper hand with their shooting efficiency and home court advantage, further bolstered by their record against divisional foes and the Pistons' difficulties against Central Division teams with winning records. However, the Pacers' inconsistency as favorites and the Pistons' tenacity, especially against Eastern Conference rivals, add a layer of unpredictability to the mix. Considering the history of high-scoring games between these two at Gainbridge Fieldhouse and their offensive firepower, betting on another high-scoring clash seems wise. The Pacers are favored due to their scoring efficiency and home advantage, but the Pistons' determination and Indiana's defensive woes suggest that covering a significant 11.5-point spread may be challenging for the Pacers. In summary, the post-All-Star break dynamics are hard to gauge, but it looks like the Pistons could more than just cover the spread in this likely offensive spectacle. With both teams playing with little regard for defense, expect a continuation of high-scoring games at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. My prediction leans towards the Detroit Pistons covering the spread in a game that's set to surpass the total points threshold. The next prediction for today is for the game between New York Knicks and Philadelphia 76ers. As the New York Knicks and Philadelphia 76ers prep for their epic clash, the heat is on. Both squads are battling not just each other, but also their own hurdles and ambitions. The Knicks, caught in a rough patch with 4 straight losses, are hungry to turn the tide and jump back into the fray. Their recent stumbles against teams like the Mavericks, Pacers, Rockets, and Magic scream for a serious game plan overhaul. Meanwhile, the 76ers are on a quest to regain their rhythm after letting 5 of their last 7 games slip, revealing a blend of grit and fragility. Zooming in, the Knicks have been netting an average of 114.5 points on 46.7% shooting, while giving up 109.9 points at a 47.3% clip to their rivals. Jalen Brunson is leading the charge with a stellar 27.6 points per game, closely tailed by Julius Randle, who's been a double threat with 24 points and 9.2 rebounds. Yet, injuries are throwing spanners in the works, sidelining key players like Anunoby and Randle, and possibly dulling their edge. On the flip side, the 76ers, with a notch better in offensive stats, are posting 118.3 points on 47.5% shooting, their defense almost mirroring the Knicks. The dynamic duo of Tyrese Maxey and Buddy Hield have been crucial, though Joel Embiid's absence due to injury looms large over their championship dreams. With the 76ers holding the home court and historical upper hand, they might have the edge, especially given the Knicks' recent troubles with covering the spread. Yet, Philadelphia's own injury woes somewhat even out the odds. Digging into the stats, such as shooting percentages, three-point efficiency, and rebounding strength, the balance leans slightly towards the 76ers, thanks to their offensive edge and the Knicks' injury list. The Knicks' top-tier rebounding might offer a glimmer of hope, but the 76ers' scoring depth and versatility are likely to prevail in this nail-biter. Reflecting on past showdowns in the city, the Knicks have proven they can topple the 76ers, particularly without Embiid, but the current scenario, marred by injuries and inconsistent performances, points to a neck-and-neck battle. Wrapping up, while the Knicks pack the punch and the guts to take on the 76ers, missing key players could sway the outcome toward the home squad. The 76ers, even sans Embiid, pack enough firepower to clinch the victory, especially with the home turf advantage. Brace for a tight contest, with the 76ers expected to just edge out the Knicks, leveraging their offensive might against the Knicks' recent defensive wobbles. I'm placing my chips on the Philadelphia 76ers to emerge victorious and beat the spread. The next prediction for today is for the game between Brooklyn Nets and Toronto Raptors. As the Brooklyn Nets gear up to battle the Toronto Raptors in an epic showdown within the Atlantic Division, we're poised for a riveting contest as both teams emerge from the All-Star break with much at stake. The Raptors, perched at a 1936 record and languishing in 12th place in the Eastern Conference, are clinging to their playoff dreams by a thread. This clash is more than just another notch on the calendar for them, especially with the team pivoting to assess the mettle of their emerging stars like Scotty Barnes, R.J. Barrett, and Emmanuel Quickley. Meanwhile, the Brooklyn Nets, with a recent record of winning only 6 out of their last 24 games, are navigating through a period of recalibration, not least due to a significant shift in leadership with Kevin Ollie taking the helm. A closer look at both squads reveals a tapestry of change. The Raptors, reeling from a trio of defeats before the break, have been weaving new talents into their squad, potentially unsettling their groove and gameplay. On the flip side, the Nets, despite their 4-6 run in the recent 10 matches, have displayed moments of brilliance alongside their struggles, including a noteworthy victory against the Raptors earlier this season. Statistically, the Nets have a slight upper hand in offensive prowess, boasting the 21st spot in points scored per outing this year, complemented by a commendable performance from downtown, ranking 14th in three-point accuracy and 6th in triples made per game. The Raptors trail closely, positioned 20th in scoring, with their long range and overall shooting percentages hinting at a squad still in search of its beat. Defensively, there's ample room for both teams to tighten up, with the Nets placed 16th and the Raptors 20th in points allowed. However, the Nets have shown superiority in snagging rebounds and safeguarding possessions, key elements that often sway the game's rhythm and control. Injury updates, including Kelly Olynyk's day-to-day status for the Raptors, could tilt the scales, affecting strategic plays and the duel's outcome in such tightly matched encounters. The history of face-offs in the same locale suggests a leaning towards the home squad, yet the recent roster overhauls dilute the reliability of past data in predicting future results. Nevertheless, the Raptors' home advantage and their urgency to kick off their post-All-Star stretch on a victorious note shouldn't be discounted. Weighing all considerations, including the Nets' superior three-point shooting and rebounding against the Raptors' faltering defense against perimeter shots, the scales tip in favor of the Nets. Their prowess in spreading the court and seizing rebounding chances, coupled with the Raptors' lineup experimentation, grants Brooklyn the upper hand. The transition to Coach Ollie, well-versed in the team's dynamics, might just be the strategic edge they need. Despite the bookmakers' slight preference for the Raptors, the Nets' perimeter scoring efficiency and rebounding dominance are poised to tip the balance, positioning them not just to beat the spread, but to clinch the victory. Anticipate a tight contest, with both teams eager to lay down a marker for the rest of their campaigns. Yet, it's the Nets' marginal statistical superiority and the Raptors' defensive woes that swing the verdict in Brooklyn's favor. My money's on the Brooklyn Nets to outdo the spread. The next prediction for today is for the game between Phoenix Suns and Dallas Mavericks. In the thick of the Western Conference skirmish, the Phoenix Suns are gearing up to clash with the Dallas Mavericks in a hotly anticipated duel this Thursday night. As these basketball behemoths gear up for the showdown, the stakes couldn't be higher, with playoff positions hanging in the balance. Phoenix, catching fire post-All-Star break, has hit their stride, pocketing victories in 2 recent games and dominating 7 out of their last 10 matchups. The resurgence of Phoenix's power trio, Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal, though Beal's play is touch and go due to a hamstring hiccup, has rocketed them to 5th place in the Western Conference. Their offensive finesse, evidenced by their 12th rank in scoring, alongside top-tier field goal and three-point shooting efficiencies, highlights their scoring acumen. Despite a lower frequency of three-point shots, their balanced attack keeps defenses guessing. Defensively, they hold their ground, ranking mid-league in points allowed and field goal defense, with their rebounding efforts also in the middle tier. Meanwhile, the Mavericks have caught their own wave of momentum, racking up 6 straight wins leading into the break. With a record of 32-23, they're hot on the Suns' heels. The Mavericks' court prowess, fueled by the electric Luka Doncic, a spry Kyrie Irving, and the fresh addition of P.J. Washington, has them pegged as a team to watch. Their offense shines brightly, with a top 10 ranking in three-point efficiency and output, though their defense tends to trail behind, with less impressive standings in points allowed and field goal defense. A pivotal aspect of this face-off is each team's performance in their last meetings and their home versus away dynamics, hinting at a nail-biter. With both teams evenly splitting their season series so far, home court might just tip the balance. Injury updates could sway the outcome, particularly with Beal's status in limbo for Phoenix. Dallas, at full throttle, might just leverage this advantage, especially if the Suns miss a beat without one of their key players. Betting dynamics hint at a psychological edge for Dallas, especially with their track record when favored, and Phoenix's challenges as the underdog. Moreover, the projected total points suggest a potential underplay, considering the defensive capabilities on both ends. Wrapping up, considering the current dynamics, home court leverage, and individual performances, the Dallas Mavericks are poised for a slight edge over the Phoenix Suns. Doncic's command, Irving's scoring prowess, and their recent streak position Dallas as prime candidates to triumph and beat the spread. Phoenix's dependence on their leading trio, possibly hampered by Beal's uncertain play, combined with their average defense, suggests potential difficulty in stifling Dallas's dynamic offense. Thus, the Mavericks are favored to clinch the win and beat the spread, with an expectation for total points to dip below the ambitious over-under mark, factoring in the defensive strengths of both squads. My money's on Dallas to take it home and cover the spread. The next prediction for today is for the game between the Boston Celtics and Chicago Bulls. In the thick of the NBA hustle, the Boston Celtics, who are currently leading the charge in the Eastern Conference, are gearing up to duke it out with the Chicago Bulls at the iconic United Center. This showdown is yet another highlight in their epic saga of rivalry. The Celtics are on a hot streak, having bagged 6 straight wins, including a jaw-dropping 50-point demolition of the Brooklyn Nets. Their gameplay is a spectacle of dominance and thrill, with Jason Tatum and Derek White dropping buckets left, right, and center. Boston's scoring machine is in full throttle, averaging 120.7 points per game, securing them a top 5 league spot. Their defense isn't slacking either, holding opponents to 110.6 points per game, showcasing their ironclad strategy on both ends of the court. The return of Porzingis from injury is like adding fuel to their fiery lineup as they brace for this clash. On the flip side, the Chicago Bulls are skating on thin ice, floating near the play-in tournament cutoff, and desperately seeking some rhythm. Despite a recent stumble against the Cavaliers, sparks of brilliance have been evident, primarily ignited by DeMar DeRozan's leadership and scoring finesse. Yet, their run has been riddled with injuries, throwing a wrench in their works with Patrick Williams on the sidelines. Averaging 111.8 points while conceding 112.9, it's clear the Bulls need to tighten their defense if they're hoping to stand a chance against the Celtics' scoring juggernaut. Past face-offs in Chicago have been nothing short of a gladiator battle, but the Celtics' current road warrior status gives them a slight upper hand. Their sharpshooting and board-crashing abilities might just tip the scales in this encounter. Plus, their knack for swiping the ball and bench depth could expose the Bulls' sporadic scoring droughts. Diving into the team's track record in back-to-backs and their recent dust-ups at the United Center sheds more light. The Celtics have shown they can bend without breaking, especially when the game schedule gets tight, which could be crucial in this face-off. The Bulls, meanwhile, have shown mixed results under similar pressure, casting doubt on their ability to counter the Celtics' offensive barrage. Weighing all angles, including stats, current form, and historical clashes in Chicago, the scales tilt in favor of the Boston Celtics, not just snagging a win, but also covering the spread. Their offensive sharpness, especially in nail-biter moments, coupled with a solid defense, positions them a step ahead of the Bulls. Though the Bulls might put up a fight, especially with playoff hopes on the line, Boston's strategic edge and depth are expected to carry the day. However, with a 7.5-point spread predicting a close game and a total points line set at 226.5 anticipating a scoring fest, it's suggested that the game could be tighter than expected. The Bulls' tenacity at home could see them covering the spread, making for an edge-of-your-seat showdown. Yet, Boston's stats in crucial areas like shooting efficiency and rebounding are likely to be the game changers. In summary, bank on the Boston Celtics to notch a win over the Chicago Bulls, solidifying their top spot in the Eastern Conference. However, expect the Bulls to give it their all and potentially cover the spread in a high-octane battle. The scoreboard is predicted to light up, surpassing the total points threshold, with the Celtics clinching the win, but the Bulls keeping it too close for comfort. The next prediction for today is for the game between Houston Rockets and New Orleans Pelicans. This Thursday night, the Hoops universe will zoom in on the Smoothie King Center, the stage for a heavyweight bout between the Houston Rockets and the New Orleans Pelicans, as they dive back into the fray post-All-Star break. The Pelicans step onto the court with the odds stacked in their favor, fresh off a week of rest and raring to extend their hot streak. Meanwhile, the Rockets are gearing up to flip the script on their season's narrative, aiming to rebound from their recent dips and secure a win. Houston's journey this season has been fraught with turbulence, evident in their 24-30 record and stumbling through 6 of their last road trips. The squad's woes are magnified by their underwhelming performance beyond the arc, especially when away from the comfort of the Toyota Center. Coach Ime Udoka is at the drawing board, pondering lineup adjustments in a bid to inject some vitality into the team. Yet, with the absence of pivotal players like Fred VanVleet and Tari Eason, it's up to the young guns, Alperen Sengun and Jalen Green, to elevate their game and challenge the Pelicans' dominance. On the flip side, the Pelicans are soaring, clinching 7 wins in their last 8 outings and marking a decade-high post-All-Star break record. Zion Williamson, despite grappling with injuries, has been in scintillating form, posing a formidable challenge for the Rockets' defense. The synergy of a healthy squad, led by Williamson and Brandon Ingram, showcases their capacity to tangle with the league's elite. Their well-rounded game and staunch defense against the three-pointer make them a daunting force at home. The head-to-head and betting angles underscore the Pelicans' upper hand in this clash, particularly their prowess against the spread at the Smoothie King Center. The Pelicans have a knack for covering generous spreads, and their track record when favored by 7 points or more is solid. Although the Rockets have had moments of competitiveness, their road struggles and inconsistent scoring underscore the uphill battle they face. Comparative analytics signal a clear advantage for the Pelicans in scoring efficiency and defensive solidity. Their knack for stifling opponents' offense while maintaining impressive shooting percentages sets them apart. Coupled with their recent home court performances, the Pelicans are primed to prolong their victory parade. The forecast heavily favors the New Orleans Pelicans, buoyed by momentum, home turf advantage, and a more cohesive unit. The Rockets' trials on the road and missing key figures could curtail their pace against New Orleans. Anticipate the Pelicans to dictate the tempo on both ends of the floor, cruising to a win and comfortably covering the spread. While the points total might tempt an overbet, banking on the Pelicans to clinch the victory and surpass the 7-point spread is the prudent call. My money's on the New Orleans Pelicans to seal the deal and beat the spread. The next prediction for today is for the game between Los Angeles Clippers and Oklahoma City Thunder. In a blockbuster showdown that's set to light up the Western Conference, the Los Angeles Clippers, currently sitting pretty in third place with a strong 36-17 tally, are gearing up to take on the Oklahoma City Thunder, narrowly edging them out in second place with a 37-17 record. This epic face-off at the Paycom Center is more than just a game. It's a pivotal battle for playoff supremacy between two of the league's titans. Fresh off a thrilling 130-125 win over the Warriors, the Clippers have demonstrated they've got the guts and the glory to pull off big wins, even sans their superstar, Kawhi Leonard. With an offense that's a force to be reckoned with, averaging 118.3 points per game and leading the league with a scorching 39.5% from downtown, the Clippers have made their mark. Despite Leonard's hit-and-miss presence, Paul George and James Harden have risen to the occasion, with George and Norman Powell proving they can be the difference-makers in crunch time. Yet their rebounding efforts hint at a vulnerability, especially against squads that dominate in snagging second-chance points. On the flip side, the Oklahoma City Thunder, coming in hot with a 127-113 win over Orlando, have been an offensive powerhouse, racking up an average of 120.8 points per game and boasting a solid 50.0% shooting from the field. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, along with Jalen Williams, has been electric, driving the Thunder's offense with unmatched precision. However, like their rivals, the Thunder's rebounding game shows room for improvement, a potential weak spot to be targeted. The history of clashes in Oklahoma City reveals a tight competition, with both teams having their moments of glory. Nevertheless, the Thunder have a slight upper hand at home, using the Paycom Center's electric vibe to their advantage. Still, the Clippers' tenacity on the road and their deadly accuracy from beyond the arc make this contest even more electrifying. Injuries could tip the scales in this matchup. The Clippers' ability to compensate for Kawhi Leonard's potential absence rests on George and Harden's shoulders, needing to ramp up their scoring game. Meanwhile, the Thunder's depth, spearheaded by Gilgeous-Alexander, could prove to be their trump card, particularly if the Clippers' defense struggles to shut down their multifaceted attack. On paper, both teams are neck and neck in offensive prowess. Yet, the Thunder's slightly superior shooting efficiency and their knack for free throws might just tilt the balance in their favor. Coupled with their dominance at home, the Thunder pose a formidable challenge on their turf. The Clippers' sharpshooting from the perimeter and their clutch performance could help them defy the odds, especially in a game anticipated to be a scoring bonanza. However, the Thunder's steadiness, home court edge, and slight edge in shooting and free throw accuracy are likely to clinch them the win. Anticipating the Thunder's strategic depth and resilience, they're poised not just to win, but also to beat the spread in what's expected to be a showcase of top-tier basketball. Expect the scoreboard to light up, with total points surpassing the set line, reflecting both teams' offensive firepower and their recent track record of high-scoring showdowns. My call: the Oklahoma City Thunder took the win in a high-octane game, with total points soaring past 237. The next prediction for today is for the game between Washington Wizards and Denver Nuggets. Tonight's showdown in the Mile High City isn't just any game. It's a pivotal battle where the Denver Nuggets welcome the Washington Wizards. The Wizards are trying to regain their balance after a disheartening 8-game skid, while the Nuggets aim to rebound from a recent 3-game slump. Despite a valiant effort, and Deni Avdija dropping a staggering 43 points against the Pelicans, the Wizards fell short. On the flip side, led by Nikola Jokic's commanding presence, the Nuggets are set to reclaim their dominance on their home turf, following a close defeat to the Kings. The Wizards' season has been less than stellar, holding a .945 record that places them at the lower end of the Eastern Conference. Their offense, while managing 114.8 points per game on 47.4% shooting, has struggled with consistency. Their defense, even more so, has been leaky, surrendering 123.9 points per game. Despite Kyle Kuzma's scoring prowess and Tyus Jones's crafty playmaking, their defense, particularly against three-point shots, has been their Achilles heel. In contrast, the Nuggets have displayed a more balanced performance, notching 113.9 points per game with a higher shooting efficiency of 48.9% and allowing 110.8 points. Jokic, along with Jamal Murray and a solid supporting cast, has kept Denver in contention within the Western Conference. Yet, their recent dip in form, both offensively and defensively, raises concerns. Denver's home advantage and their historical performance against Washington point towards a significant edge. The Nuggets' ability to dictate the game's tempo, especially against the Wizards' high-octane offense, could turn the tide in their favor. The Nuggets' strategic defense, aimed at curbing scoring opportunities, may just be the key to victory. With the Wizards at full strength and the Nuggets potentially missing a few players, Denver's depth will be crucial. Their defensive game plan, focusing on limiting three-point attempts, could neutralize Washington's long-range threats. Considering the Wizards' defensive issues and the Nuggets' strong home record, Denver is in a prime position to capitalize on Washington's weaknesses. Their superior shooting, rebounding ability, and the psychological boost of playing at home should tilt the scales in their favor. The Nuggets are expected to not only win, but also cover the spread, leveraging their strengths against Washington's porous defense. The next prediction for today is for the game between Charlotte Hornets and Utah Jazz. Tonight, the hardwood lights up with an electrifying showdown as the Charlotte Hornets buzz into Salt Lake City to face off against the Utah Jazz at the Delta Center. With the Jazz holding a record of 26-30 and barely hanging on to playoff dreams, they're itching to halt a four-game slide, squaring up against a Hornets team that's been under the radar at 13-41, yet has recently sparked to life with a trio of wins. The Jazz are stepping onto the court as 9.5-point favorites, signaling confidence in their season's hustle and the fortress that is their home court, despite hitting a rough patch. The scoreboard's expected to light up with an over-under set at a whopping 232 points, a nod to a likely offensive fireworks show thanks to both teams' leaky defenses. Charlotte's season has been a roller coaster of highs and lows, with injuries and roster shuffles throwing curves. However, they've hit a groove, underscored by a dominant 122-99 thrashing of Atlanta. With Miles Bridges and the breakout star Brandon Miller leading the charge, their offense has been catching fire, especially when up against faltering defenses. Their recent win streak, along with a 21-33 against the spread record, hints they've been consistently undervalued. On the flip side, the Jazz have been stumbling, with their playoff hopes dimming after a 2-7 run in their recent outings. Yet, with a 31-25 ATS record, they've shown they can still surprise, especially with Lauri Markkanen and Jordan Clarkson bringing the heat offensively. But it's their defense that's been their downfall, giving up an average of 134 points in their last few games. Digging into the matchups and recent showdowns in Salt Lake City, both teams have had their moments, but Utah's home advantage hasn't been as rock-solid as expected, especially with their current form. Plus, their last few face-offs have been tighter than the 9.5-point spread might suggest. Injuries and who's hitting the floor will be key in this clash, with each team looking to exploit the other's defensive gaps. Utah's struggles to finish strong, coupled with Charlotte's recent offensive sink, position the Hornets as a sneaky smart pick against the spread. With defensive gaps wide open on both ends and both squads finding their offensive rhythm, hitting over 232 points looks more than just a possibility. It's likely. Wrapping it up, while the Jazz are pegged to take it, the Hornets' recent surge and Utah's defensive hiccups make Charlotte a solid bet to beat the 9.5-point spread. Plus, with a penchant for high-scoring games on both sides, betting the over on 232 points feels like a savvy move. Gear up for an offensive showcase tonight, with the Hornets likely to keep it tighter than expected and both teams pushing the scoreboard to its limits. My money's on the Hornets to beat the spread and for the game to soar past 232 points. The next prediction for today is for the game between Los Angeles Lakers and Golden State Warriors. In the charged-up vibe of the NBA, we're on the brink of witnessing an explosive showdown as the Los Angeles Lakers brace for battle against the Golden State Warriors. This face-off is set to be a spectacle, with the Lakers riding the high of a commendable 3-game win streak. while the Warriors are on the hunt to tack on another win, having dominated in 6 of their last 7 outings. The Lakers have been tearing it up, flexing their muscle against teams like the Pelicans, Pistons, and Jazz, dropping an impressive 117 points on average with 49.4% from the field, and holding opponents to 117.1 points on 47.2% shooting. They've established themselves as a formidable force. Anthony Davis and LeBron James have been at the heart of this onslaught, averaging 24.9 and 24.8 points respectively, with Davis also cleaning up the glass with 12.2 rebounds a night. Spencer Dinwiddie's arrival has supercharged their bench, adding crucial depth and firepower. Meanwhile, the Golden State Warriors have been lighting up the scoreboard, averaging 119.7 points on 47.4% shooting, while their defense has been giving up 118.2 points. Stephen Curry, with an outstanding 28 points per game average, has been a pivotal figure, supported by Klay Thompson and the rising star Jonathan Kuminga. The Warriors have leaned heavily into their three-point barrage, ranking second in the league for trays made per game. Titans have been high-octane scoring frenzies, with the Warriors' sharp shooting from downtown and the Lakers' prowess in the paint. In past duels, the Lakers have capitalized on the Warriors' challenges in guarding the paint without fouling, a significant edge for the Lakers. Given their recent form, the Lakers' paint dominance and foul-drawing strategy could be the game-changer. The Warriors' propensity for fouls and struggles in paint defense may be their Achilles heel against a Lakers squad proficient in scoring up close and from the charity stripe. Moreover, the Lakers have proven their resilience and capacity to excel, even in LeBron James's absence, as highlighted in their triumph over the Jazz heading into the All-Star break. Analyzing the numbers, the Lakers' enhanced offensive play and bench impact, spearheaded by Dinwiddie, could neutralize the Warriors' three-point edge. The Warriors' dependency on their starters for points might be exposed if the Lakers' bench can significantly contribute to the scoring effort. Considering the dynamics and recent form of both teams, the Lakers are primed not just to cover the spread, but also to snatch a victory. Their interior dominance, combined with the Warriors' defensive troubles and high foul rate, swings the prediction in the Lakers' favor. Despite the Warriors being favored by a 6-point spread, the Lakers' momentum and tactical superiority could see them cover the spread and perhaps clinch the win outright. With a total points margin set at 242, a high-scoring clash is anticipated, reflecting both teams' offensive prowess. Yet, the turning point might be the Lakers' bench depth and their knack for drawing fouls, exploiting the Warriors' defensive shortcomings. To sum up, amid the firepower on both sides capable of turning the game into a scoring bonanza, the Lakers' recent momentum, strategic paint play, and bench depth are tipped to give them the upper hand in this eagerly awaited battle. Brace for a tight, high-scoring showdown, but my money's on the Lakers to cover the spread, leveraging their effective scoring, exploitation of the Warriors' defensive gaps, and substantial bench contributions. The last prediction for today is for the game between San Antonio Spurs and Sacramento Kings. Tonight's showdown between the San Antonio Spurs and the Sacramento Kings is gearing up to be a hoop spectacle, showcasing squads at different junctures in their season's journey. The Spurs, hungry for a comeback after a tough stretch, losing 8 of their last 9, are up against a Kings team aiming to build on their 5-5 record in recent outings. This contest isn't just a battle of San Antonio's rising stars versus Sacramento's high-octane offense. It's a crucial checkpoint for both teams' playoff dreams and their rebuilding missions. The Spurs' recent skid, marked by defeats to the Mavericks and Nets but a victory against the Raptors, highlights their ongoing battle. Scoring an average of 111.8 points on 45.9% shooting while letting in 120.4 points on 49.1%, their defensive struggles are front and center. Victor Wembanyama and Devin Vassell, dropping 20.5 and 18.9 points respectively, spotlight the individual brilliance that hasn't yet sparked consistent team victories. Their three-point game at 33.9% and defensive gaps allowing 38.5% from downtown are red flags, particularly against a Kings crew that thrives from long range. On the flip side, the Kings, with an offense netting 118.4 points on 48.2% shooting and a defense conceding 117.9 points, pose a formidable dual threat. De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis, leading the charge with 26.8 and 20.1 points respectively, headline a dynamic scoring ensemble boosted by Malik Monk and Keegan Murray. Their 37% from beyond the arc and rebounding prowess could exploit San Antonio's weak spots. Looking at past encounters and performances in the host city sheds light on potential outcomes. The Kings' scoring machine, particularly potent at home, plus their edge in three-point shooting and board control are key to clinching NBA wins. The Spurs' road woes and Sacramento's strong home stance this season suggest the visitors might be in for a rough ride. Analyzing head-to-head matchups and recent trends, the scales seem to tip in the Kings' favor. Their superior ATS record in recent meetings with the Spurs, combined with San Antonio's spread-covering struggles, forecasts a likely continuation of this dominance. Injuries and player dynamics are pivotal too. Wembanyama's blocking finesse and Jones's assist-to-turnover magic could give the Spurs a defensive and strategic edge. Yet, the Kings' knack for limiting opponents' offensive rebounds and their vulnerability to three-pointers could sway the game, especially if San Antonio capitalizes. Wrapping up, while the Spurs are clawing their way out of a rut, the Kings, with Fox's scoring prowess and Sabonis's rebounding, stand as the frontrunners. Factoring in statistical insights, current forms, and Sacramento's home court advantage against a defensively shaky Spurs, the prediction leans towards a Kings triumph. The disparity in three-point efficiency and rebound control further shifts the odds in Sacramento's favor, anticipating a high-scoring affair. My bet is on the Sacramento Kings to secure the win and beat the spread.